This is Andrew Phipps, and welcome to the Faith, Family, and Freedom broadcast. We're glad to be in your area. We thank you for joining us today. Hopefully, you can share a little of your time with us because we have a wonderful program planned with you in mind. There will be different segments. There will be different situations, interviews, music, commentary, and perhaps much more. We like to have a program that has diversity in it from the standpoint that we try to change it up every little bit to hopefully keep you interested. And I think that you're going to appreciate the interviews that we had just recently at Nashville, Tennessee, right there in the Gaylord Hotel with the Freedom Coalition hosted by Dr. Ralph Reed. And political conservatives and Christian evangelicals come from all over the country to this wonderful conference. And it's a time for enlightenment, for education, for encouragement. We can encourage one another and hopefully try to do what we think we can do to help improve the situations in our country. We all know that we are morally and spiritually bankrupt, it appears. I don't believe that I've ever seen it any worse. You know, we bring liquor and alcohol into our family restaurants that's never been there before. We try to somehow make sin a situation where we gloss it over, and we somehow talk about giving pride to certain groups when in fact the symbols often used was a promise that God would never destroy this world again by water. And so I want to speak truth to error, but I want to do it in a way that indicates and shows that I'm not mad. I don't want to be abrasive. We certainly don't want to be ugly, but we just want to do what we can do to help you and help everybody. That includes myself. I need to know a lot more, and maybe by our working together, we can accomplish that. But the program today is one that certainly, I think, it'll be a favorite of yours. You're going to enjoy it, and we're not going to belabor the point. We're just going to tell you to relax, enjoy it, invite a neighbor or a friend, and let's get together after these important announcements.
Well, here at the Road to Majority in Nashville, Tennessee, with Senator Rick Scott of the great state of Florida.
How you doing?
I'm doing I'm wonderful. How are you?
Now, the only thing better was this was in Orlando.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Nashville's a nice town. They still live here.
I was in Orlando last year. But Senator Scott, we have a program called Faith, Family, and Freedom. We're trying to get America to be more cognizant, more aware. We need a spiritual awakening in America.
We do. We got to go back to the country I grew up in, Florida. You know, I was born in a single mom. We lived in a public house, and she said, "Thank God you live in this country." Now, she made sure I went to church a lot. She wanted me to be a Eagle Scout. She wanted me to do well in school and remain to work. That's the country we ought to have. We go back and build our families again. Believe in God. Put God in all parts of our life.
Well, you know, I think we have to remember that our rights, John Kennedy said, our rights didn't come from the government, they came from the hand of God.
That's right.
And so when we forsake our foundations, when we neglect them, first thing you know, we're immersed, we're all over the place.
You look at our country now, you look at the crime, you look at the indoctrination of our kids, we look at the high inflation. I mean, we got to go back and get God in all parts of our life. We got to get prayer by faith, in all parts of our life. We got to get back to building our families again.
Well, and I think the work is very difficult in D.C., but I'm grateful for people like you.
All right, we're gonna rescue this country.
Well, you know, God's still on his throne.
Yep.
And his mind has affected, and his power is not diminished.
I'm going to plan to rescue the country. Go to rescueamerica.com.
God bless you, my friend. Thank you. I'm here today with
Senator Bill Hagerty, United States Senator from Tennessee, elected in 2020. And I was telling him that our daughter Angela is the principal of Grace Christian Academy in Knoxville. And of course, I've been able to speak all over Tennessee, and we share some similar friends. Senator, good to be with you today.
It's wonderful to be with you, to welcome you to Nashville, Tennessee. Here in Middle Tennessee.
It's wonderful, isn't it? And real quickly, I know you've got a heart for this country, and obviously our society, our cultural disposition has changed dramatically. I think of a great quote that Theodore Roosevelt said. He said, to educate a man in mind and not in morals is to educate a menace in society. And I'm afraid we've lost out much on our heritage. What do you think? Do you think I might be right on that?
Well, I think you're right with certain corners of our society. They tend to live on the coast.
Yeah.
And they tend to have a very, I think, different view, a different belief than we do here. But if you were to ask me about Tennesseans, we still have that heart.
Yeah.
The problem is you've got this radical left agenda that's taking control of our media, big tech. The Democrat Party seems to be completely swayed in that direction, even though I don't believe all Democrats do this.
No.
But they've been pulled in this direction so far left, it's really disturbing. And I think what you're going to see are the forgotten men and women of America. The President Trump has done such a great job of touching those Americans who see now what's happened over the past 16 months of Joe Biden. If you look at the polling, America is very upset because our fundamental principles are being attacked everywhere. So I think we're going to see something very, very different in November at the polling.
You know, I saw where President Franklin Roosevelt made this statement. Of course, you know, he was a progressive Democrat, but he said he was a Christian first. He wanted Bibles printed at the expense of the government to be passed out for the men in service. On D-Day, June 6th of 1944, he gave a 6-minute address appealing to the God of heaven that for safety for the men there that would be gathered at Normandy. Dwight Eisenhower actually carried in his pocket a letter that said, if this thing is not successful, it's my fault. And so
Accountability that's still lacking.
yeah, and you know, but people like Harry Truman, even John Kennedy said our rights didn't come from the generosity of the state. We said they came from the hand of God. So I think you're right. Seemingly, the party that we identify with the far left today has endorsed everything that most Tennesseans and most Americans don't agree. And I have still hope for America.
I do too. I share that with you.
And I think that people like you standing together and doing what you can, you know, I'll say this, Mark Twain said, in the beginning of a change, the patriot is a brave and scarce man, often hated and scorned, but when he coughs and sees, however, the timid join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot.
I know that loneliness. I've only been there for 16 months, but I've shut the Senate down over some of my principles. And we've had pretty rough fights up there. So I'm going to keep fighting the fight. And I appreciate your prayers and everyone else's prayers that have been so helpful and so supportive of me.
God bless you, my brother. Stay strong. Thank you. Again, we want to thank you for being with us today. I always am excited about your participating with us in these particular efforts. Let me just remind you, and you know I very seldom mention it, but if you, your church, would like to be a part of what we're doing, any kind of help financially would be deeply appreciated. I've never been good at asking for those kinds of things, and I don't want that to appear like I'm self-humbled, but I do want to appeal to you because this is a way that we can take it to more cities, more areas, more states, and I think there's never been a greater need than telling folks today about the foundations. You know, the Bible said, if the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? And we have some wonderful foundations in our country. We have the church. We have government. And especially, and maybe not in that order, I know the church goes first, but we have the home. And our homes certainly are in need of repair. We need dads in the homes. We need parents that'll take responsibility for their children and do what's right. Well, just recently I was in Nashville, Tennessee again, and got to see some wonderful people. I was able to interview former Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos, who has taken a strong stand against the indoctrination within our school systems. I mean, we are not there to propose critical race theories or wokeism or to try to indoctrinate our children on the values of transgender transformation. We need to be trying to help get our children educated so that they can fit into the proper groove, whether it's academia or maybe it's in vocational. I don't know that everybody needs to go to college. We need all kinds of people. We need mechanics, we need hairdressers, we need laborers, we need salespeople, and whatever the description is, we ought to try to do that job to the best of our ability. I think that honors God, that we try to appreciate the work that we have. You know, the apostle was very specific. He said, if you don't work, you don't eat. And unfortunately, I think we're seeing a mentality today that says, I want to be on the gimme or on the receiving side. I want to have something given to me. Entitlement, or the idea that the government owes us something. I think today that we ought to be proud in trying to do a job well-pleasing to our employers. They're not in business to hire people just to provide jobs. They're in business to create products from which you and I desire those products, and they in turn make profits for their research and for their stepping out as entrepreneurs. Well, let me again say that I was able to see a lot of good people there. We had interviews with some pastors. We had interviews with a fellow that's in the adoptive services down in Alabama, I believe Brother Norvell. We had interviews with so many and different leaders from far and near. And again, I want to thank Ed Henry of Real America's Voice for being so generous to me. And he just kind of took me under the wing, so to speak, and I believe that he enjoyed what we were trying to say, and even mentioned that maybe we could find a place somewhere within what they're doing. Who knows? God might open up some doors for us here that would just be pleasantly surprising to each one of us. I know one thing, He's able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think. All He's looking for is not our ability, but our availability. And we'll be back in just a little bit.
Precious the words the Savior has spoken for the redeemed and blessed. Words that have stood the test, bringing sweet peace and rest. I was so thrilled to think of that hour that I first heard those words. Precious those words of invitation.
It's time to plan for the 47th Annual Southern Gospel Singing at Sea Cruise. Join Andrew and Shirlene Phipps as you depart from Port Canaveral for the trip, January 30th through February 3rd, 2023, for warm sunshine and tropical breezes in the Caribbean. With 30 of the top Southern Gospel groups in the nation, you will be entertained and you'll be inspired by the best in Southern Gospel preaching. Dine on delicious foods, see the sights, and bask in the warm glow of Christian fellowship on the world's largest all-Christian cruise to the Bahamas. Hurry, because this trip of a lifetime sells out fast. All that is needed now is a small deposit, and you can continue to pay over time. For more information, call Andrew Phipps at 765-744-4239.
Hello, friends. This is Andrew Phipps, and I believe that we need all of the materials that we can gather to help us as we combat the attack upon our faith, our family, and our freedoms. We need to be educated, and I have a handbook that has been given to state legislatures. It's been given to members of Congress. It's a colorfully created handbook that has graphs, charts, quotes, and different things in it. You'll be impressed with it. And also we have DVDs. We have CDs that are God and Country, Return to Greatness, and Faith, Family, and Freedom, some other wonderful materials. See the contact information on the screen. Be sure that you order some, because these will be of a tremendous help. They are supplemental materials to help you in your Christian walk. And may God bless. Again, this is Andrew Phipps with Faith, Family, and Freedom. Our place is in Muncie, Indiana, Delaware County. We have a website, Andrew Phipps, or Faith, Family, and Freedom. Hopefully you can find it there, also on YouTube. And those programs are put up about as quickly as they are edited and produced. So maybe you can find them there, share them with your friends and neighbors. Also, we have some products. We don't say much about it, but we have some DVDs. We have a handbook that we've been providing for folks for a long time. We have other materials, tracts that we give out to churches and so on. So I'm out of Liberty Baptist Church. I tell you my sending church so you'll know where my membership is. That's where I pay my tithe and support Faith Promise Giving, and it's an honor to be a member of a local Bible-believing church. And we're conservative in nature, and we use the King James Bible in our church. And so if you, as a pastor, would ever want me to come and maybe be a part of your church services, it would be an honor. All you have to do is call us. Our contact information is on the screen from time to time. Again, we're excited about the opportunities that we have in hand. You know, I don't believe in luck, but somebody tried to describe it. They said luck is where opportunity and preparedness meet, but I don't know if that's true or not. I only give it as a secular illustration, but I know that God is sovereign. He knows what we're doing, where we're going, and so on. But I would like to again remind you that while I was at the Freedom Coalition, they called it the Road to Majority. I'm hoping that we can do something this year, that we can correct a lot of things that are in place economically. You know, there's no need for us to have this kind of high inflation. And it's hurting churches, it's hurting businesses, it's hurting everybody with these ridiculously high gas prices. And I think we can do better. We've shown in the past that we could do better. So we do not need to be held hostage to foreign governments or foreign economies when we have the means to provide more than enough for ourselves right here domestically. And I think also when we're seeing the trillions being spent, when we're talking about a $30 trillion debt, that's beyond my comprehension. Perhaps it might be yours. I just know that we're going to face economic hardships one day. There is always a day of reckoning. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Somebody has to pay. So I think there are many problems. I think it's terribly wrong that as I saw a sign just coming to the TV station where the sign said 8,000 illegals coming in each day. And that's unacceptable. We must have secure borders in our country. We must provide for the defense of our people on the southern border. And not only there, but other places where they are flying them to, the illegals, at night, and we know nothing about it. So we have to have the right leadership. And I believe that if we'll petition the God of heaven, that we can find that. The Bible's very clear. In 2 Chronicles 7:14, he said, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven. I will forgive their sins and heal their lands. And I know from a spiritual context, we can say, well, that was a direct challenge to Israel. But I think it has spiritual applications for us today. I believe that God will hear and he will change things. You know, we've come through hard times. We just celebrated the 78th anniversary of D-Day. And when I think of those men that climbed the cliffs there at Normandy, there at the Battle of Omaha and Utah and other places. My, what courageous people they were. You know, most of them were quite young, 18, 19, 20 years old. Some of them maybe had advanced their age to get into service. Sometimes I wonder, do we have that same kind of residue in our people today? Have we built within us the same kind of DNA that where our people are ready to defend us and stand up for America? I'm glad to be a Christian first, but I'm also glad to be an American. I stand for the stars and the stripes, and I really do not consider those that disregard it. I don't like what they do. And I told somebody jokingly, I said, I can't wear Nike shoes because I said they hurt my feet when I stand for the national anthem. So I hope that you'll agree. Again, we're always available to talk with you. Go to our website, Andrew Phipps, Faith, Family, and Freedom. Be sure that you share this information with your friends. We all must stand not only for the Word of God and the Christ of the Bible, but we have to stand for the local church. We have to stand for what we know is decent within the community. We have to stand for our families. The family is the basis of everything. We can't neglect the family and expect the churches to be strong. Friends, I have enjoyed this immensely. I'll look forward to being with you at the next opportunity. But until that time, this is your friend Andrew Phipps saying, have a great day.